Right, in this video I'm going to show you how I gap piston rings and how I've gapped them for these JE forged pistons to go in my bobber motor. It's now the morning after we got the bobber to the drag strip for the first time with the supercharger on it. So what happened? What times did it run? Did it go bang? Did it break? What happened? Well, you're going to have to find out in the next video. That'll be in a couple of days. This video is about piston ring gaps. I had my phone strapped to my chest there and we live streamed it for an hour. So thanks to anyone who was on a live stream commenting. I can't actually see what you were commenting because I can't go back into the history of it because I don't think I had that enabled. And at the time the camera was pointing that way, so I couldn't see. So thanks to anyone who was watching and commented. And the live stream is now up on the channel if you want to watch it. It's not very easy to watch because most of it is hanging around and we didn't really get to the camera on my chest sorted out properly to get some good footage. We did actually film the first run live, but most of the time it's just looking at the supercharger and the timing lights weren't working, so we didn't get any times for the first run. So I'm going to get into the live streams now, and I'm going to make a mount for the tank here to fit my phone on, so next time we're there we can actually live stream it from here with the camera fixed rigid, so I know exactly what it's looking at, because strapped here it's just looking wherever my chest is facing, so it didn't really work that well. But there's some interesting stuff on there. Go and have a look if you haven't already. So, piston ring gaps. So I'm just going to clean, because I don't need to hone these because they're really good condition. I'm just going to get the dirt off the edge here. Dirt, carbon, whatever it is, with a bit of Scotch Brite. And we're going to measure the piston ring gaps. Right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually measure the original ring gap of the original piston rings, which are going onto the new pistons. But because it's turbocharged, there's going to be a lot more heat, so these are going to expand a bit more. So this gap here needs to be a little bit smaller so that when the piston expands, these two bits don't touch together, or rather when this expands these two bits don't touch together, because if they do then it's going to force it outwards into the cylinder wall and cause friction. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure this gap here when it's in the cylinder. So I just put it in like that, flip it around like that so it's sort of level. Don't know how well you can see that. And then what I do is I use the piston without the top two rings on to push that down square like that, and then that's at the same level all the way around, which keeps it level. And then let's turn that so you can see the gap, which is just there. We're basically going to measure it with feeler gauges. So I've got a 15 thou gauge there. I'm doing this all in imperial because all the data you get for everything's always American, so it's always in imperial. So that's way too floppy, so we need to go bigger. Let's go 19 thousandths for that. Oh, that doesn't feel bad. That. Might be able to go a little bit bigger than that. That's not bad, that's pretty much on the money. Let's go for 20 thousandths. This is actually the second ring I'm measuring here, the one furthest down the piston. I'm not going to gap the oil ring. It's right on the money there. It's just gripping it, and there's no play in it. So that 21 thousandths of an inch, the stop gap for the second ring. So I'm going to write that on here. That's the second one there.
And we now measure the first one. So we'll flip this out of here. And we do the same with the top ring. The gap on this should be a lot tighter, I reckon. So yeah, even looking at it, there's no chance that 20 thousandths will go in there. Let's try off 15. Oh. A little bit tight. Let's go 14. Spot on, 14 thousandths.
So I've done a bit of research on the interweb to sort of and worked out what I reckon the gap should be. I'm going to open them up because the stock engine wasn't designed for boost, and it wasn't designed to run the sort of temperatures and pressures that it's going to be running. So I've worked out from research and looking at other stuff that I need to sort of go up about 5 thousandths on the first ring, and then 2 or 3 thousandths on the second ring, because the second ring's pretty wide anyway, so that's not too bad. So that's how I got to the gaps, what I'm going to gap them at now.
So now I've looked on the computer and I've decided what they need to be. That's what they need to be, so let's do that now. So now this top ring, which is 14 thousandths, we need to open it up to 20 thou. So how we do that is you basically file a gap bigger. You can get actual proper gap files, which are like a rotary file, which this fits on and then it turns into it like that, but I'm showing you how to do this without all the proper tools. The cheap way, it just takes a little bit longer and you've got to be a bit more careful, that's all. So this tape here, this is athletic tape, what you use to tape up your ligaments and muscles and bits and pieces which you may have damaged or you don't want to damage. But it's good for this sort of thing too. But it's just cloth, stretchy cloth tape. Any sort of cloth tape will do. I just want to put a soft face on my soft jaws. So now it's just a case of filing that down to the required amount. Try and keep the file really level and only go inwards, because on this outer surface there's a coating, and if you come this way you can chip the outer coating off of the edge. The proper tools have actually got a dial gauge on them so you know how much you're taking off, but this is going to be very tedious without the proper tool, and we've just got to keep going but not too far. So what was that before? That was 14 thousandths. What do we want it at? We want it at 20, don't we? So that's now 17 thou after that tiny little bit of filing. So you've got to be really careful because that's pretty easy to file down, so we want to go a little bit more. And also you need to take any burrs there are off of it as well, because otherwise it will catch on the cylinder, on the piston rather, and they need to be able to move around freely. Glad I don't work on V8s, that would be really tedious, or V16s. I don't do this much, which is why I'm not forking out for the tools. Well, actually, let's get the feeler gauge I need and then keep filing it until it goes in. That's about 18 thou now, I need 20. Right, so that's pretty much how I get the rings. I didn't film me going the last final bit. You sort of get the idea of how it works and what you do. So these JE Forged pistons are going to be going in the motor next week, and I'm going to be rebuilding that motor, and then you'll find out what I'm doing with that. So that's that then. That is how I get my piston rings. I did actually borrow some scales and weigh them as well, but I don't know where the footage for that's gone, and I've taken the scales back now, so I can't redo it. But basically the pistons are exactly the same weight. They're JE Forged pistons, very high quality, and the engine they're going in is a stock engine, so that wouldn't have been balanced from the factory anyway, and the rods and pistons probably wouldn't have been matched to each other, so it's not really going to make any difference at this stage. I am going to tear that motor down and blueprint it at some point, but it's not within the budget right now. And of course, I want to get the pistons in there. I want to ride it on the street for a bit. I want to do some drag strip passes with it. And then when we tear it down, we'll be able to see if anything's gone wrong with it or what's right with it and stuff like that. So, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and stay healthy and drink plenty of water. And have a great day. Oh, and if you want to get hold of me, my contact details are below this video, and you can check out all the other stuff I do as well.